In this video, I'll be showing you how to create this stylized pinecone in Blender, and then we'll also be creating a simple procedural material to add some little bits of snow on the edge of the pinecone. Now this video is a small part from my full tutorial series on how to create this Christmas wreath in Blender, so if you'd like to check out the full tutorial series, you can find the link in the description. So I hope you enjoy the video, and thanks for watching. So we're going to start by creating one of the pinecone scales. So I'll go to the add menu, let's just add a plane, and I'll scale the plane down by a 0.05, so 0.05, so it's quite small, and I'll press Ctrl A and apply the object scale. So let's go into edit mode, and I'm just going to box select the two back pieces, and we'll move it back here and scale it down a bit on the x-axis, and this part here, scale it up a bit. We can also select everything and just bring it forward a bit so the origin point is right there. So also box select these and maybe scale them down on the x-axis a bit. And then I'll press Ctrl R to add some loop cuts, and I'll scroll out my mouse wheel. Maybe we'll just do like 6 cuts, left click and right click so it stays where it is. And then if I select these two, we'll scale them down a bit. Maybe select these two, scale them down, and these two here, we'll scale them up a little bit, and then select these two, scale that a little bit. So we have a nice gradient, so as it goes farther back, it's going to get smaller and smaller. Alright, just like that, and then maybe select this one and extrude out one more time and just scale it down so it's quite a bit smaller. Then I'll press Ctrl R to add a loop cut in the center, and I'll left click and right click so it stays in the center. And then if I go to side view, I'm just going to deselect everything and go into wireframe, and I'm just going to box select the center here, and I'll hit the O key to turn on proportional editing, and we'll bring the entire thing up a bit, but then I want to scroll my mouse wheel to make the proportional editing smaller, and we're just going to make it so it kind of comes up and then goes back down. And if I box select the back here, let's also bring it down and rotate it a little bit so it kind of has this shape. And then if I hold down the Alt key and select this loop right here, let's bring the center loop down on the Z-axis, just bring it down about like that so the outer parts kind of go up a bit. And then we'll just select everything, and I'll hit E to extrude. We'll just extrude everything down a little bit so it has some thickness, and turn off the proportional editing, and we can bring it down and maybe just scale it down just a tiny bit. Let's use the object context menu and shade it smooth. Also, I think we need to go into edit mode and select everything and hit Shift N to recalculate the normals. That looks better. Now on the front here, I want it to be curving around a little bit, kind of like curling. So I'll go to side view by hitting 3 on the numpad. We'll go to wireframe. I'll deselect everything and just box select the front here, and I can rotate it a bit. Let's actually turn on the proportional editing and then rotate it a bit and move it back a little bit so it's kind of curling just a little bit more. Because we shaded it smooth and there isn't very much topology, there's kind of like some dark areas and the shading looks a bit weird. So let's go here to the modifiers. We'll click on add modifier, and we're going to add the weighted normal. Just add the weighted normal, and now you can see it looks a bit more flat there, and that looks a bit better, but it's still pretty smooth. So let's now model the stem of the pinecone. So this is going to be a new object. So I'll just press Shift C to center the 3D cursor. I'll go to the add menu and add a circle. And if you click right behind me on the circle settings, I'll turn the vertices down to 10. And then we can just scale this way down, make it pretty small, and then press Ctrl A and just apply the scale. So I'll go into edit mode, and let's go here to side view by hitting 3 on the numpad, and I'll just extrude it down and scale it down a little bit. Let's also turn off the proportional editing, scale that down, extrude it down, and scale it down a bit more. And then I'm going to make a little stem or a tail kind of on the end here. So I'll extrude it out, scale that down, rotate it, extrude it out, and rotate it. All right, like that, and then extrude out again. And then I'll hit the F key to fill a face there. And I'll hold down the Alt key and select that loop of vertices there. And I'll extrude this entire thing up a bit. And we can scale it down so it's a lot smaller. Also, I think it's a little bit too thick on the bottom. So let's hold down the Alt key and hold down the Shift and Alt key and select those loops. And I'll scale it all down just a bit more. And we'll go back into wireframe view, maybe select the stem and scale that down a little bit more. All right, go back up to the top here. We'll just box select the top and scale it down a bit more. Let's zoom in here to the top, and I can extrude it and scale it down, extrude again and scale it down so it's kind of round, and then hit the F key to fill a face there on the top, just like that. And in object mode, we'll scale everything up a little bit so it's a little bit bigger, and then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Now I want to join them together into one object, so we'll select the center and then select the scale and press Ctrl J, and because I selected the scale last, it still contains its modifier, so now they both have the weight to normal. So we'll go into edit mode, hit the L key to select the scale, and I can scale it down and just bring the scale inside the other object. So just bring it there inside. So now what I want to do is duplicate the scale and put one on the other side. So I'm going to press Shift C to make sure the origin point is in the center there. Now I can click here on the transform pivot point and we'll change this to 3D cursor. So I'll now hit the L key to select that entire scale, and I'll press Shift D to duplicate. We'll hit R to rotate, and I'll type in 180 for 180 degrees, so it's over there on the other side. And if I select both of them, I might want to scale them out a little bit so it's a little bit longer. Then I'll duplicate it again, and I'll rotate it, and this time I'll type in 90 and enter, so it's rotated over by 90 degrees. And now just hit the L key to select all of them, and I'll press Shift D to duplicate, bring it up a little bit, and we'll scale it up a little bit. Let's also hit the L key to select all of them, and I want to bring them all up a little bit more. And then if I just hit the L key to select the top ones, I will give it a random rotation, maybe rotate it at about 45 degrees. We'll duplicate it again and bring it up, and then rotate it over and scale up a little bit more. And let's duplicate it again, maybe scale this up on the Z-axis a bit. And then we'll start to bring everything down just a little bit. And let's change the transform pivot point back to median point, so that it's going to scale by the center of the objects that we have selected. So if we just go to front view, let's just give it a random rotation, bring it down a bit, duplicate it again, scale it down a little bit and give it another random rotation, duplicate it again and give it another random rotation. And we're just going to continue to do that all the way up. So duplicating it, randomly rotating it and scaling it, so it slowly gets smaller and smaller as it goes up. Now, as we're getting up higher to the very top, I want to scale them a bit so they're kind of a more of an angle. So if I just hit the L key to select one of them, I can duplicate it. And this one I'm going to rotate a little bit, rotate it over, maybe scale it up on the Z-axis like that, and also make it smaller so it's kind of pointed higher up. So now let's duplicate them and rotate them over. We'll put one here on the other side and then select both of them and duplicate them and rotate them over like that. All right, hit the L key to select all these ones. We'll scale that down and then duplicate it, scale it down a bit more and kind of rotate that over like that. So you can see as it gets higher up, it kind of becomes a bit more sharp. And we'll duplicate that again like that, scale that down pretty small. And then you can see there's some parts where it maybe looks a little bit empty. So to fix this, just select a few of those scales and I can duplicate it, maybe have another layer of scales right here and duplicate it again, maybe put another layer of scales here, give it a random rotation, kind of scale it up like that. And then right here at the very bottom, I want them to get smaller. So hit the L key to select all these scales on the bottom, duplicate it and scale it down and rotate it. Duplicate it again, rotate that over, duplicate it again, and rotate it like that so that the scales are a bit smaller, then they get larger, and then as they go up, they get a bit smaller again. Let's go back up to the very top and go into edit mode again. Just select a few more, and I'm just going to make some really small ones. So duplicate that again, rotate this one over, just have a few really small ones. Now right here at the very top, we're going to have kind of some stubby ones, which are sort of more of a squarish shape or a round shape. So let's go to the add menu, we'll add a cube, and I can scale the cube way down, bring it up here, scale it down way down so it's really small. So something like that. If I rotate it over and move it over like that, that's pretty good. Let's go to the face select, and I can select this face, and I'll extrude it and kind of scale it, and extrude again and scale it. And then on the top here, we can extrude that and scale it, kind of like that. All right, so hit the L key with your mouse hovered over that piece to select the entire thing. And I think the bottom piece right here, we need to bring it down a little bit. So select the entire thing and just stick it right in there. And then again, go to top view and I can duplicate it and rotate it. And we're just gonna have a few of these kind of stubby pieces at the very top. So let's now make kind of a stylized material to the pinecone. So I'll have it be very dark on the inside, then in the middle it'll be kind of brown, and then we'll add some little snowy bits on the outside to look like some bits of snow have fallen on the outside of the pinecone. So we'll go here to the shading workspace, I'll zoom in here, and I'll click on new to add a new material. So I'll go into the rendered view. So to create this, let's go to the add menu, and I first want to search for a gradient texture so we can have it be dark in the middle and then kind of a lighter brown on the outside. Let's Ctrl control shift and select the gradient texture to preview it. And on the linear type here, I'm going to change it to spherical instead, so it'll be a circle. Let's also select the gradient texture and then press Ctrl T to add the texture coordinate and mapping. So we can now use the mapping, location, rotation, and scale values to move around the gradient. So first let's scale it. So if I click on the X value and then drag down and then drag back and forth, I can scale it. So let's turn it down maybe to like a 1.5 so it's smaller. Then I can use the location values, so the X location and the Y location and then the Z location. I'll just bring that up so it's about in the center. Then we can scale it again. So if I click and drag down and then hold down the shift key as I drag back and forth, I can just scale it down. So if you want to use the same values that I'm using, we're going to have the X, Y, and Z at a negative 1.24, and then the scale values are going to be 2.5 on all of them. However, I do want to scale it just a little bit on the Z, so let's scale it up on the Z by just a small amount, so maybe just turn it to like a 2.1, and then we can take the location Z and I can drag this down a little bit more, and then we can go back here to the scale and scale it up a little bit, so maybe turn this now to like a 1.8. That's a little bit better. Now I want to make this look a bit more noisy and random, so what we're going to do is mix in a noise texture. So I'll search for a noise texture, drop this down here, and I can put the object into the vector of the noise. Let's Control Shift and select the noise to preview it, and I can change some of the settings. So I'll turn the scale to like a 20, and I can turn the detail up to like a 10. And then this roughness here, I'll turn up to like a 0.7, so it's more rough. So I now want to mix the gradient and the noise together. So I'm going to search for a mix color and drop it here. And I can take the gradient color and I'm going to put that into color A, and then the noise texture factor is going to go into color B. So now what I want to do is just make the noise so it's kind of distorting the edges of the gradient. So if we click on the mix type here, I can change it to linear light. And I can now drag the factor, and now it's distorting the gradient, so it's still black here and white in the center, but now it's just a bit more noisy and it's kind of being distorted. So I'm going to turn the factor value to like a 0.2. Now I do want to make it more contrasty, so we're going to search for a color ramp, and we'll put the color ramp here after the linear light. So just stick it there, and then I can drag the black tab and the white tab. Now let's just drag the white tab over so it's pretty sharp, and the black tab, I'll just drag it back there, maybe bring it forward just a little bit, and bring the white tab kind of to about there. This is where the snow is going to be, so wherever it's black, that's where the snow is going to show up. So we can box select all these nodes, hit Ctrl J to add a frame, and if I select the frame and press F2 to add a label, I can just call this like snow gradient. Now let's make a material for the snow, so I'll just drop the principled shader right here, and I want the color ramp to be going into the normal to give it some bump, and we don't want it to be in the base color. Now the base color here, we're just going to make sure it is fully white. But then we need to take the color ramp and put that through a bump node before it goes into the normal to convert it to bump data. So we're going to search for a bump node, and we'll drop this here between the color ramp and the principled shader, and the color can go into the height value, so now you can see the snow looks really bumpy, but let's turn the strength way down to like a 0.2 so it's pretty subtle. And then also let's make it more shiny, so I'll turn the roughness down to like a 0.3. So I now want to create a gradient for the brown colors, so we're going to box select all the nodes here, and I'll press Shift D to duplicate and drop them all down here. And I can Control Shift and select the color ramp to preview it, and if I click on the snow gradient and press F2 to change the label, I'm just going to call this gradient. All right, like that. So now we can change how this is looking. So for one thing, this color ramp, we can select the color ramp and hit the backspace, and that's going to reset it. And these are going to be the brown colors. But let's go back over here to the gradient and change some of the settings. So here on the roughness, I'm just going to turn this down to like a 0.5. So there's not quite as much roughness. And this factor here, maybe I'll turn this up to like a 0.3. So it's a little bit more noisy. All right, so now on this color ramp, we can change the colors. So on the black tab, let's just make this kind of like a lighter brown color. So something like that. And then on the white tab here, this is going to be a pretty dark color. It's going to be like a dark brown. And let's also drag the black tab over so you can see more of the dark brown. So drag it over there. And if you want to use the same exact colors that I'm using, the dark brown color, that's going to be a hex value of 190C00. And then the lighter brown will be a hex value of 4C2F21. That's going to be the base color. So let's now go to the add menu, and we're going to search for another principled shader, and we can drop this here, and we can put the color ramp into the base color, and this is just going to be the default Pinecone material. Let's also turn the roughness up to like a 0.7 so it is more rough. Then we can also take the linear light here, we can put the result into the normal to give it some bump, and then to convert to bump data, we will search for a bump node, drop that there, and we can put the linear light here into the height value. And then here on the bump strength, we'll turn this down to like a 0.2, so it's a lot more subtle. And that's actually looking a little bit rough right now, so maybe go back to this noise texture, I can turn the roughness up a bit, maybe to like a 0.75, that looks a bit better. And also here on the bump strength, maybe turn that down a little bit to like a 0.15 instead. All right, so that's pretty good for the basic material. So we now have the snow and we also have the pine cone, so I want to mix them together. So if you shift select both principled shaders, you can press Ctrl-0 to add the mix shader, and that's going to mix them both together. But instead of just blending between them, I want to add a factor, so we can take the snow gradient and we can put that into the factor. And now you can see there's just snow on the edges, and then the rest of it is the brown. And then also on this base color, I might just turn it down a little bit because it's kind of blowing it out a little bit. It looks very white, so maybe just turn the base color down a little bit. And then if we go back over here to the snow gradient, you can also make it more strong or more subtle by kind of dragging these values around. And I think what I'll also do is select this black tab here, and if I click on the black tab and turn it up just a tiny little bit, it'll start to make the snow fade away. So you can see if I turn this up a little bit, it'll fade it away. So maybe drag it down like that, something like that, so it's not quite as bright. That looks a little bit better. So that's how you create this stylized pinecone in Blender. And again, if you'd like to check out the full tutorial series and learn how to create this Christmas wreath in Blender, you can check out that video with the link in the description. You can also purchase the Christmas wreath project files, and in the project files come some different assets that you can use to build your own Christmas wreath. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.